This is a Northern Will County Water Agency meeting, June 9th. We'd all stand, we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance. The Pledge of Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, would the clerk please call the roll? Oldenburg? Overglen? Here. Lamont? Here. Woodridge?
Yes.
Romeo absent. Okay, is there a motion to approve the minutes of April 7th, 2014?
So moved. Second.
There's a first and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion passes. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as distributed with one change? The amount listed under the approval of bills for number 1, Tressler, should read $76,813.48.
So moved.
First, we have a first and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion passes. Jim, with money, does it have to be a roll call?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So let's have a roll call vote on that motion.
That's what the agenda.
Yeah.
We need a motion.
Oh, that was just, okay, that's the next one. Is there a motion to approve the payment of several invoices to Tressler LLP totaling $76,813.48?
We do this group.
What's that?
We do this group. We have a motion for the entire package. If you read the entire package.
I can make a motion to approve the Tressler, Crow Power Wet, and the Village of Woodridge.
Okay, we have a first
Second.
and a second. Clerk, please call the roll. Oldenburg?
Yes.
Overglen? Yes. Lamont?
Yes.
Woodridge?
Yes.
Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, Woodridge. So that took care of all three, okay. I guess now we have a report from Tressler LLP, Water Agency's attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This ongoing case is now traveling under court number 14 ED 33, which is the refiled case in Will County. That case includes a number of interested parties who are not direct defendants in the case, but have an interest in easement or some other interest in land along which this pipeline runs. So to avoid any confusion or any further litigation issues related to that, they have now been named as interested parties in the complaint, as well as subsidiaries of American Lake Water Company, so that there is no confusion about which company is which and how one operates with another one. So the subsidiary companies of American Water Works and Illinois American Lake Water are also named as parties in the case. So this ongoing action now will move forward. Negotiations which were conducted as required by statute were not fruitful, and that was done through correspondence back and forth with lawyers for American Lake Water Company, and concluded with no resolution. Therefore, we'll proceed with litigation as outlined in the complaint. The refiled action was the subject of individual municipal ordinances passed and publicly available by each of the municipalities who are members of the Northern Will County Water Agency, and a resolution passed by this board to allow for the proceeding of this action in great specificity. Both the ordinances that were passed individually by the municipal members of this agency and the agency's resolution detailed in much more detail so that the public is better informed as to the course of the action and what is underneath this action in terms of the proceeding to take this transmission pipeline that runs from Bedford Park and serves the southwest communities represented on this board. In addition to which, I think this action has attracted some media attention, but in any event, we'll proceed forward now with the court proceeding as we're able to go.
Thank you. Okay. Are there any next steps that the board members would like to discuss at this time? Go ahead.
Mr. Promoter, I'd like to just, with where we're at right now, could you give a new timeline as far as based upon refiling the filings of the other items?
Yeah, one of the things we did at the front end is we requested from the interested parties, meaning the parties that have some or may have some land interest, we've asked for a waiver of service on them since they won't then have the necessity to appear, and that will allow us to expedite the front end of the proceedings so that we can move a little bit quicker. We should be able to get right into discovery where we left off in the original action. Our position is that the discovery will carry over and we'll be able to pick up where we left off, proceed further in that regard. I suspect that we'll go through some written discovery since we don't have any responses to the discoveries we issued to American Lake Water, and we'll be pressing on that to get moving in that direction. And then from there, I'm expecting that we'll get some response from American Lake Water and we'll proceed from there. In thinking about where these cases are in Will County, and now under Will County procedure, the eminent domain cases are now clustered between two judges, which will move things a little quicker. They were all before one judge. A second judge has picked up some of the eminent domain cases now, which I think will allow the court system to respond a little more quickly. Instead of having just one judge backing these cases up, there's now a second judge that's taking on some of these cases. So that should improve also the timeline as far as we're going. I'll have a better estimate of that in the next 3 weeks to 4 weeks when we begin to see the responses that we get from the parties.
Thank you, Jim.
Judge Powers is one of the judges, and I'm sorry, the name of the other judge is escaping me right now, but it's Judge Powers who had these cases has maintained his call, and the second judge, and if I think of it, I'll interrupt him. I'm sorry, I can't call it tonight.
Okay. Are there any other questions for the attorneys?
You have the Peoria article on the agenda that wasn't covered.
Yes, well, actually, we'll back up to correspondence. Included in the packet is Tressler's May 1st last and final offer to the utility company. Their lawyer's May 14th letter is included, and the follow-up letter from Tressler on May 27th, which was not responded to, is included. Additionally, the article from Peoria having to do with their issues with Illinois American is attached as well. Peoria is in a little different situation. They have a buyout option in their franchise agreement with Illinois American that allows them to revisit purchasing the system every 5 years. Illinois American is pushing, they want that extended to 20 years because they don't want to deal with a potential buyout every 5 years, which has created an issue in Peoria, and that issue is ongoing.
And the actual buyout option, as I understand it, they're offering millions of dollars to the city of Peoria to extend the buyout option. Towards the millions of dollars, they'll simply put on the Peoria water bills to collect from the residents, even though the city of Peoria will get an initial amount of money of millions. So there's a lot more there to meet the eye. So it's not like, well, I won't comment anymore. But so Illinois American's attorneys are not responding or slow to respond. Do you think they will cooperate?
If that's history is any indicator, we're going to have to compel almost everything. The last correspondence that Jim Bone mentioned asked for a response to our last and final offer. Either you want to negotiate or you reject our offer. We did not receive a response to that request.
The deadline for that was Friday.
I noticed they failed to put in here that they are not cooperating.
Yeah, I didn't see that in there.
Did you write this, Rosemary?
Pardon?
Did you put this out?
Yes, we
Did you
did.
write it?
I was part of the team that did, yes, sir.
You didn't put in there that Illinois American is not cooperating.
Well, that's not going legal matter.
I'm just curious. A couple of details are left out of there, but I understand. Wish we could afford to put all this stuff out. Unfortunately, only American customers get to pay for this, so that Rosemarie can write these things and put them in every door in town and mislead the residents. But that's the way the game's played. They're spending a fortune, and of course, there are law firms, an out-of-state firm too, isn't it?
Ken Samuels.
Yeah, they couldn't find anybody in Illinois. Apparently, they thought it was confident enough, so they went out-of-state.
So as Mayor Claire stated, this was on every doorstep and, or every door in Homer Glen this past weekend. Fronting this meeting here today to try to influence this meeting. Are there any other statements, questions for the attorneys?
No, but I'm curious, how many people are here to direct you all to reading this weekend? 3. Okay. 4. That's out of how many residents?
24,200.
Well, there's just all kinds of facts we're not including in this thing, and it would take another couple hours to go through them all, and I assume if you've got questions that Cam or Mayor Daley would be happy to answer more since your resident's here, although I'm the Mayor Bolderick, I'd be happy to give it my best shot too. But the reality is, this is, your water bills being used to mislead you. It's very unfortunate taking this. I give him credit for he's putting the name on the back. Some of the stuff they put out is a little not quite so obvious where it came from, although we knew it was paying for it. The customers are paying for it. That's why your water bills are what they are. They can afford to pay for this kind of stuff. But they fail to report that like 90% of the water companies in this country are monitored by governmental agencies, and there's a reason for that. To keep the costs down, to make them non-for-profit, and make the owners accountable directly to people like you. Because if you own a water company, you come to this meeting as an owner, he has to respond exactly what they're doing because they're controlling it. With Illinois American, God knows where you'd have to go, or where you need to go. You can call an 800 number, which you have no idea where that is, ask a question, get referred to somebody else. The stories I get from some of our residents about water bills and trying to get communication with the 800 number they're horror stories. So if I get emails these days, maybe you should all try this, if you get emails from customers coming in Illinois American service, and they're frequent, I forward them all to Carla Teasley, the president of Illinois American. I don't think she appreciates that, but I don't appreciate getting emails from residents about problems that Illinois Americans created for one of my residents. But anyway, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them, but this is a good thing we're doing. It's going to take a while. It's going to cost some money, but right now you're paying an exorbitant amount for water bills, and we want to stop that. And we think we can with better operational procedures. No profit, there's a profit in it. We can't find out what that is in Illinois American because they don't want to cooperate and tell us. So that's why we're trying to do the discoveries, find out just what is this profit to this company. And the issue that was questioned, and the attorney mentioned, the mayors were all deposed, which means they drug us into a meeting, asked the same question 6 or 7 times, trying to get us to, have a different answer, trying to confuse us between Illinois American and American Lake Water. They're not the same thing. Well, folks, they are. They just have a corporation with multiple subsidiaries, and they're all interlocked somehow, some way with investors. So consequently, they wanted to confuse everybody with who's what. So that's why we redrafted the new lawsuit, specifically spelling out all the companies so they can eliminate that point of confusion. And other reasons. A couple of technical things. Through the deposition, we found out from the questions they were asking, we found out what they were going to try and attack. And they were going to try and attack procedural things, not the merits of the case, just the procedural things. So if we made an error in a procedural thing, which they were alluding to, we pulled the lawsuit, refiled it with all those procedural things corrected, so they don't have any more way to stall this thing, which they're clearly trying to do. They'd like to see this lawsuit continue for another 6 or 10 years. So we're trying to expedite it.
Okay, are there any more comments or discussion? Okay, then we'll move on. The future board meeting dates are as follows. September 8th, 2014 is in Romeoville. December 8th, 2014 is in Woodridge. And March 15th, 2015 is in Bolingbrook. Okay, is everybody fine with those dates?
I'll be generally 11 o'clock that Monday. They're all Monday mornings, and I'll be 11 o'clock.
Right. Okay. And is there a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of discussing pending litigation?
How long this week? What?
Yeah, there's some things.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, I apologize. So moved.
We have a first.
Second.
We have a second. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Volker.
Yes.
Alderman Glenn.
Yes.
Lamont.
Yes.
Woodridge.
Yes.
How long this week?
Shouldn't be the only one.
I could say there's 4 people who came as a result of this. We're not going to be that long, so, any questions?
Okay. Is there a motion to reconvene the board meeting? We have a first.
Second.
We have a second. The motion's been made with the first and second. The clerk, please call the roll.
Volker.
Yes.
Alderman Glenn.
Yes.
Lamont.
Yes.
Woodridge.
Yes.
Okay, we're back in the meeting. Are there any questions from the audience for the agency guidelines? And what I see who signed in is one person, John Coy. Please step up to the podium, name and address for the record.
John Carter, 2056 Venetian Way, Ronald Park, Illinois. I have a question. If I have a question with the water agency, and I ask it today, you people will hear me. But if I want to send a written one, which it states here that if I want answers, I need to have it in writing. Does everybody get it, or does only one person I address it get it? That's one of my questions. In other words, I have a couple things that I'd like to have answered, but I don't want them from one person. I'd like them from everyone. Is that possible?
Well, the agency will respond to it as the agency. I mean, we're viewing this thing as a group. This is what we're all about. I mean, so when you ask the question, you'll get an answer from the agency.
In other words, one person that would answer me would relay my message or question to everyone else, then,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And is there any way I can ask for the answer to be in writing?
Attorney?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, that's about all. So with that, I'm gonna have to sit down and then write exactly what I'd like to find out, and then we'll go from there.
Putting it in writing is not to be community, sir. It's simply to make sure we got an accurate question, because sometimes verbal questions, we don't fully understand sometimes. I'm sure yours would be fine, but it's just easier to deal with in writing because we want to forward to several people. And then you'll get an answer from either the chairman or one of the attorneys representing this agency.
All right. You want one of the questions?
Yeah, give us a
All
question.
right, here's the question. We took out a bond issue 2 years ago to pay for the takeover of Illinois American Water, and there was anywhere from 200 to 400 people out there, and they all figured that the money from this bond issue was going to go to take over Illinois American Water pipeline to supply them. Now, all of a sudden, we're spending this money and for a new village hall, 100 acres that's going to be ball fields and all kinds of things. Now, we've been told from Air Daily that the money we took out of this bond issue was going to be put back into it from the water agency. So, is that right, Mr. Daly?
That's correct.
I don't understand how you guys can all of a sudden be giving us money back. But that's why I'd like to find out.
Would you like me to answer that?
Yes, please.
In other words, I've heard it, but I don't know.
John, you asked the question. Okay, I'll have the attorney answer it right now.
Each of the individual communities, when they join the agency, passed an inducement resolution which allowed us to set a timeline that any expenses that were advanced by any of the individual communities, when the agency actually sold bonds to buy the water system, they would get from that date forward reimbursed all of the money that they had put in as individual communities. The actual agency agreement, the bylaws, specifically state that the way that the acquisition would be financed would be through revenue bonds, which means that revenues from the collection and distribution of the water, the rates would be set to pay the debt service for the acquisitions. So there's no tax money, no referendum money in the actual acquisition of the water system.
So the $1 million we took out of this to purchase the Woodbine,
Woodbine has nothing to do with this issue, this water issue, John.
the bond we took out was to pay for the water agency.
No, the bond we took out was for capital improvements, okay? The sewer line is a capital improvement. Woodbine is one issue, the sewer line is another issue. The attorney just explained to you that it will be rolled up in a bond and it will be given back to the villages, their expenses. It will be part of the revenue bond that is created as a result of the purchase. Does that answer your question?
Most. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Are there any other speakers here? Okay, then is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
First?
Second.
And a second. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll. Wallenberg?
Yes.
Overblood? Yes. Allot?
Yes.
Woodridge? Yes. Meeting, motion passes, meeting adjourned.